The stars were quiet that night, sat alone in his small cargo ship, drinking cold coffee and watching the endless darkness of space. He was a simple man with a simple job. He moved supplies between planets. Nothing exciting ever happened to him. His ship was old but reliable. He called it the Gray Sparrow. It had carried him through 10 years of work without any big problems, like the silence of space. He liked being alone with his thoughts. Back on Earth, life was too loud and too fast. Out here, he could breathe. The radar beeped, looked at the screen and frowned. There was something ahead, something big. He leaned forward and adjusted the sensors. The object was not on any map. It was not a planet or an asteroid. It was a ship. Felt his heart beat faster. The ship was damaged. Smoke and fire came from its side. It was spinning slowly, out of control. He had never seen a design like this before. The metal was silver and gold, shaped like a flower with many petals. It was beautiful even while it was dying. He should have kept going. That was the smart thing to do. Unknown ships meant unknown danger, but was not the kind of man who could watch someone die and do nothing. He changed his course and flew toward the wreck. As he got closer, he saw the damage was very bad. Something had attacked this ship. The marks on the metal were from weapons, not accidents. Someone had tried to destroy it. Maybe they had succeeded. Docked his ship carefully. The connection was not perfect, but it held. He put on his space suit and grabbed his emergency kit. He also took his old pistol. He hoped he would not need it. The door opened with a hiss. The air inside the alien ship was thin but breathable. Stepped inside and looked around. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Strange symbols covered every surface. He could not read them, but they looked important. This was not a cargo ship like his. This was something special. He walked through the corridors, stepping over broken metal and sparking wires. Bodies lay on the floor. They were tall beings with pale blue skin and silver hair. Their eyes were closed. They were all dead. Felt sad for them. He did not know who they were, but they had been alive. They had been someone's family. Then he heard a sound. It was soft, like a whisper, followed it deeper into the ship. He found a large room with a broken throne in the center, and on the floor next to the throne was a woman. She was not human, but she looked almost human. Her skin was pale silver like moonlight. Her hair was long and white, spread around her like water. She wore armor that was cracked and burned. Blood, dark purple in color, covered her chest. She was dying. Ran to her side. He dropped to his knees and opened his emergency kit. He did not know if human medicine would work on her, but he had to try. He pressed bandages against her wound. He injected painkillers into her arm. He worked fast, his hands shaking. The woman opened her eyes. They were gold, bright like twin suns. She looked at with confusion and fear. She tried to speak, but only blood came from her lips. "Do not talk," said. "Save your strength. I am going to help you." She stared at him. Her golden eyes studied his face. Then slowly she relaxed. She trusted him, a stranger from an unknown species, and she trusted him. Lifted her carefully. She was taller than him, but lighter than he expected. He carried her through the burning ship, back to the Gray Sparrow. Every second felt like an hour. He was afraid she would die in his arms. He laid her on his small medical bed. It was meant for humans, but it would have to work. He cleaned her wound and found the problem. A piece of metal was stuck deep inside her. He needed to remove it. Was not a doctor, he was just a cargo pilot, but he had learned basic medical skills during his training. He had fixed broken bones and closed small wounds before. This was different. This was surgery. He took a deep breath. His hands stopped shaking. He picked up his tools and began to work. The next 3 hours were the longest of his life. He removed the metal piece slowly, carefully. He stopped the bleeding. He stitched the wound closed. He gave her fluids and medicine. He did everything he knew how to do. When he finished, she was still breathing. Her heartbeat was weak but steady. Sat back and let out a long breath. He had done it. She was alive. He looked at her sleeping face. Even covered in blood and dirt, she was the most beautiful being he had ever seen. There was something royal about her, something powerful. He wondered who she was. He wondered what had happened to her ship. But those questions could wait. Right now she needed rest, and so did he. Made a small bed on the floor next to her. He could not sleep in his cabin and leave her alone. What if she woke up scared? What if her condition got worse? He needed to stay close. He lay down and closed his eyes. Sleep came quickly. He was exhausted. In his dreams, he saw golden eyes watching him. He saw a galaxy filled with silver ships. He saw a throne made of stars. He did not understand what these visions meant, but deep in his heart, he felt that his life had just changed forever. The quiet days were over. Something new was beginning, something he could never have imagined. Outside, the gray sparrow drifted through space, carrying two souls toward an unknown future. The stars watched in silence, keeping their secrets, waiting to see what would happen next. 3 days passed. Did not sleep much. He watched over the alien woman, checking her wound, giving her medicine, making sure she was still breathing. Her body healed faster than any human could. By the 2nd day, her wound had closed. By the 3rd day, color returned to her silver skin. On the morning of the 4th day, she opened her eyes. Was cooking soup when he heard movement behind him. He turned and found her sitting up on the bed. Her golden eyes were clear and sharp. She looked around the small cabin, studying every detail. Then her gaze found him. "Where am I?" she asked. Her voice was soft but strong. She spoke in a language had never heard, but somehow he understood every word. Later, he would learn that her people had technology that allowed instant translation. But in that moment, it felt like magic. "You are on my ship," said. "The gray sparrow, I found your vessel, it was destroyed. I brought you here." She touched her chest where the wound had been. Her eyes widened slightly. "You healed me." "I did what I could. I am not a doctor, but you are strong. Your body did most of the work." The woman stood up slowly. She was very tall, almost 2 heads taller than. Her white hair fell past her waist. Even in torn armor, she looked powerful and beautiful. She walked toward him with careful steps. "What is your name?" she asked. "I am human from Earth." "Human," she repeated. The word seemed strange on her tongue. "I have heard of your kind, young species, new to the stars. You have not yet joined the galactic community." Nodded. "We are still exploring, learning. Most humans have never met an alien before." He paused. "I have never met one until now." The woman studied him for a long moment. Her golden eyes seemed to look right through him, into his soul. Then she did something unexpected. She lowered her head in a deep bow. "I am Vila," she said, "Queen of the Empire, ruler of 7 star systems, and you of Earth have saved my life." Felt his mouth fall open. A queen. He had saved a queen. He did not know what to say, so he said nothing. Vila raised her head. Her face was serious. "Among my people there is a sacred law. It is older than our empire, older than the stars themselves. When someone saves the life of another, a debt is created. This debt cannot be ignored. It cannot be forgotten. It must be repaid." "That is not necessary," said quickly. "I did not save you for a reward. I saw someone in trouble. I helped. That is all." Vila shook her head. "You do not understand. This is not about reward. This is about honor. My life belongs to you now. My blood, my breath, my heartbeat, all of it exists because of you." Felt uncomfortable. He stepped back. "Please, I do not want your life. I just want to make sure you are safe. Then I can take you somewhere. Your home, maybe. Your people must be looking for you." "They are," Vila said, "and they will find us soon, but that does not change the debt." She stepped closer to him. Her golden eyes were intense. "There is only one way to repay a life debt of this size. According to our sacred law, I must offer you the highest gift I can give." "What gift?" Vila took his hand. Her fingers were cool and smooth against his skin. "Myself," she said. I must offer you my heart, my hand in marriage, a union of souls that lasts beyond death. Pulled his hand away. His heart was beating too fast. Marriage, we just met. I do not even know you. That does not matter. The law is clear. Then your law is wrong, said. His voice was louder than he intended. I am sorry. I do not mean to be rude, but I cannot marry someone because of a law. Marriage should be about love, about choice, not debt. Vila's eyes widened. For a moment she looked hurt. Then her expression became calm again. You refuse me. I refuse the debt, said. Not you. I am sure you are a wonderful person, a great queen, but this is not right. You do not owe me anything. Silence filled the cabin. Vila stared at him like he was the strangest thing she had ever seen. Perhaps he was. Perhaps no one had ever refused her before. You are a strange human, she said finally. I am just a cargo pilot, he replied. There is nothing strange about me. You saved a queen and want nothing in return. You refuse wealth, power, and a throne. In my experience, that is very strange indeed. Smiled a little. Maybe humans are just different. Before Vila could respond, an alarm sounded. The radar screen lit up with bright signals. Ships were coming, many ships. Vila looked at the screen and her face changed. The softness disappeared. The queen returned. My fleet has found us, she said. They are coming. Watched as dozens of silver ships appeared in the darkness of space. They were huge, each one bigger than a city. They surrounded the gray sparrow like giants looking at an ant. What happens now? He asked. Vila looked at him. Something complicated moved behind her golden eyes. Now, she said, you come with me to my palace. I cannot do that. I have deliveries to make, people waiting for their cargo. Your cargo does not matter, Vila said. You saved the queen. You are part of our history now. You cannot simply fly away and be forgotten. Watch me, said. He moved toward the control panel. Vila grabbed his arm. Her grip was strong but gentle. Please, she said. The word seemed difficult for her. Perhaps queens did not say please very often. I am not asking you to marry me. Not yet. But I must bring you before my council. I must show them the human who saved my life. If you refuse, they will think you are an enemy. They will destroy your ship. Looked at the massive fleet outside. He looked at the queen holding his arm. He looked at his options and found he had none. Fine, he said. I will come with you, but I am not marrying anyone. Vila smiled. It was a small smile, but it changed her whole face. She looked younger, warmer, almost human. We will see, she said. Had a bad feeling about those words. He had a bad feeling about everything. But as the gray sparrow was pulled into the largest ship, he realized there was nothing he could do. His simple life was over. Ready or not, he was entering a new world. A world of queens and empires and laws he did not understand. He just hoped he would survive it. The journey to the took 5 days. During that time, learned many things about the people who had taken him from his quiet life. They were an ancient race. They had sailed the stars for thousands of years before humans even invented fire. Their empire stretched across 7 star systems, with hundreds of planets under their rule. They were known for their beauty, their advanced technology, and their strict code of honor. Vila told him all of this during their long conversations on the flagship. She visited him every day in his guest quarters. The room was large and beautiful, with soft beds and windows that showed the stars, but still felt like a prisoner. A comfortable prisoner, but a prisoner all the same. Why do you keep coming here? He asked her one evening. Vila sat across from him, drinking something that looked like liquid gold. Because you interest me, she said simply. You are different from anyone I have met. Different how? You do not want anything from me. Everyone wants something from a queen, power, money, favor. But you look at me like I am just a person, not a title. Shrugged, you are just a person with a crown but still a person. Vila smiled at that. She smiled more often now, he noticed. The cold queen he had first met was slowly becoming someone warmer, someone real. When they finally reached could not believe his eyes. The planet was called Sola Prime, and it was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. The sky was purple and pink, filled with 3 moons. The cities were made of crystal and gold, rising into the clouds like dreams made solid. Vila's palace sat at the center of the capital city. It was enormous, bigger than any building on Earth. Towers stretched toward the sky. Gardens floated in the air. Waterfalls fell from nowhere and disappeared into nothing. "This is where you live?" asked as their ship landed. "This is where I rule," Vila corrected. "Living and ruling are different things." Guards met them at the landing platform. They were tall and strong, wearing armor that glowed with blue light. They looked at with confusion and distrust. A human in the palace. It had never happened before. Vila walked through the halls with her head high, followed behind her, feeling very small and very out of place. Servants stopped and stared. Nobles whispered behind their hands. Everyone wanted to know who the strange alien was. They reached a great hall where many important-looking waited. At the front stood 5 elders with silver crowns on their heads. This was the council, realized. The people who helped the queen rule. "Queen Vila," the oldest elder said, his voice was cold. "We are relieved you are safe. When your ship was attacked, we feared the worst." "I survived," Vila said, "thanks to this human." All eyes turned too. He tried not to look nervous. "A human," another elder said. "She was a woman with sharp features and even sharper eyes. You brought a human into our sacred palace." "He saved my life," Vila replied. "Without him I would be dead. The assassins would have succeeded." "Then we thank him for his service," the sharp-eyed elder said. "Give him gold and send him home. There is no need for him to stay." Vila shook her head. "I cannot do that. Under our sacred law, I owe him a life debt. I have offered him the highest gift, my hand in marriage." The hall erupted in chaos. Elders shouted. Nobles gasped. Guards reached for their weapons, took a step back, wondering if he should run. "This is madness," the oldest elder yelled. "A human cannot marry the queen. It has never happened. It can never happen." "The law does not say the savior must be," Vila said calmly. "It says only that a life debt must be repaid. He saved me. I must offer myself. That is the law." "Then change the law." "A queen does not change laws to avoid her duty." The arguing continued for hours. Stood in silence, watching the storm around him. He was the center of a political crisis, and he had done nothing except save a stranger's life. Finally, the sharp-eyed elder raised her hand. The hall became quiet. "There is one way to settle this," she said. "The trials of ascension." Vila's face went pale. "No. If the human wants to be considered worthy of our queen, he must prove himself. He must face the trials. If he survives, he may marry her. If he fails, the debt is cancelled and he returns to his world." "The trials were designed for warriors," Vila protested. "He is human. He will die." "Then the problem solves itself." Stepped forward. Everyone looked at him in surprise. He had been silent for so long they had forgotten he could speak. "What are these trials?" he asked. The oldest elder smiled. It was not a kind smile. 3 tests of worthiness, strength, courage, wisdom. Many have attempted them. Few have survived. No alien has ever tried. "And if I refuse?" "Then you admit you are not worthy. The debt is cancelled. You leave and you never see our queen again." Looked at Vila. She was staring at him with fear in her golden eyes. Fear for him, he realized. She did not want him to die. Strange, a week ago they were strangers. Now she feared for his life. "I did not come here looking for a wife," said slowly. "I did not ask for any of this. All I did was help someone who needed help." He paused. "But I will not run away. I will not let anyone say humans are cowards." He turned to face the council directly. "I accept the trials." Vila grabbed his arm. "No, you do not understand what you are agreeing to." "Maybe not," he said, "but I understand that your council wants me to fail. They want me to be afraid." He looked into her golden eyes. "I am afraid, but I have been afraid before. Fear does not stop me." The hall was silent. The elders stared at him with new expressions. Some looked angry, some looked curious. A few looked almost impressed. "The human has courage," the sharp-eyed elder admitted. "Let us see if he has anything else." "The trials begin in 3 days," the oldest elder announced. "Prepare him, and prepare funeral rites. He will need them." The council left. The nobles followed. Soon, only Vila remained in the great hall. "Why did you do that?" Vila asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. "You could have gone home. You could have been safe." Thought about her question. He thought about his small ship and his quiet life. He thought about the golden eyes that had trusted him when he was a stranger. "I do not know," he said honestly, "but I think I am supposed to be here. I think this is where my path leads." Vila looked at him for a long moment. Then she did something unexpected. She leaned forward and kissed his cheek. It was soft and quick, like the touch of a flower. "You are the strangest human," she said, "and the bravest fool I have ever met." Felt his face grow warm. "Just wait," he said, "I am full of surprises." He hoped that was true, because in 3 days he would need every surprise he had. The morning of the trials arrived too quickly. Woke before sunrise and found Vila waiting outside his door. She had not slept. He could see the worry in her golden eyes. "You can still refuse," she said. "I will find another way to protect you." "No," said, "I gave my word. Humans keep their promises." Vila handed him a small crystal pendant. It glowed with soft white light. "This was my mother's," she said. "She died when I was young. It has protected me through many dark times. Now I want it to protect you." Took the pendant and hung it around his neck. It felt warm against his chest. "Thank you," he said. "I will return it when this is over." "You better," Vila said, "or I will be very angry with you." He smiled. "I would hate to make a queen angry." The arena was built in the heart of the capital city. It was ancient, older than the palace itself. Millions of watched from the seats. Millions more watched through screens across the empire. The humans' trials were the biggest event in centuries. Walked into the arena alone. The sand beneath his feet was silver. The sky above was filled with floating cameras. The crowd was silent, waiting. The oldest elder stood on a high platform. His voice echoed across the arena. "Of Earth, you have chosen to face the trials of ascension. 3 tests await you: strength, courage, wisdom. May the stars watch over you." The first test began immediately. A gate opened and a creature stepped out. It was massive, standing 3 times taller than. Its body was covered in black armor. Its eyes burned with red fire. The crowd gasped. This was a beast bred for war. Even warriors feared them. Had no weapon. He had no armor. All he had was his body and his mind. The charged. The ground shook with each step, waited until the last second, then rolled to the side. The creature crashed into the wall behind him. It roared in anger and turned around. Knew he could not defeat this monster with strength. He was too small, too weak. But humans had survived on Earth not because they were the strongest. They survived because they were the. He ran toward the wall of the arena. The followed, jumped and grabbed onto a hanging chain. He climbed fast, his muscles burning. The tried to follow but was too heavy. The chain broke under its weight. Reached a high platform and looked down. There was circling below, waiting for him to fall, but was not planning to fall. He spotted a water pipe running along the wall. On Sola Prime, all water was precious and purified. That meant the pipes were pressurized. Found a loose joint in the pipe. He pulled with all his strength. The pipe burst open, sending a jet of water straight down. The screamed as the freezing water hit it. Steam rose from its burning eyes. It stumbled, blind and confused. dropped from the platform. He landed on the creature's back and found the gap in its armor where the head met the body. He struck with his elbow once, twice, 3 times. The collapsed. It was not dead, but it was unconscious. The crowd was silent. Then slowly they began to cheer. A human had defeated a without weapons, without armor, using only cleverness. The oldest elder looked surprised but nodded. The first trial is complete. The human has shown strength of mind. Had no time to rest. The second trial began. The floor of the arena opened, revealing a dark pit. Fire burned at the bottom. Narrow bridges crossed the pit in a maze pattern, and walking on those bridges were hooded figures carrying knives. "The trial of courage," the elder announced. "Cross the pit, face your fears, do not fall." Stepped onto the first bridge. It was barely wider than his foot. Below, the fire roared. One wrong step meant death. The hooded figures moved toward him. There were 12 of them. They did not speak. They did not hesitate. They attacked. Fought like he had never fought before. He ducked under blades. He kicked attackers off the bridges. He used their own momentum against them, letting them fall into the flames below. His body was cut and bleeding. His lungs burned, but he did not stop. Fear tried to control him. Every time he looked down, his legs wanted to freeze, but thought of Vila. He thought of her kiss on his cheek. He thought of her mother's pendant against his chest, and he kept moving. One by one, the hooded figures fell. Finally, reached the other side of the pit. He collapsed on solid ground, breathing hard. His blood stained the silver sand red. The crowd was screaming now, not in anger, in amazement. This small human had done the impossible twice. Vila watched from the royal box with tears in her eyes. She did not know if they were tears of pride or fear, maybe both. The third trial was different. No monsters, no fire, just a simple chair in the center of the arena. "The trial of wisdom," the elder said. "Sit in the chair, answer the question, truth will set you free, lies will kill you." Walked to the chair and sat down. Metal bands locked around his wrists and ankles, a device attached to his head. If he lied, it would know, and it would execute him. The oldest elder descended from his platform and stood before. "One question," he said. "Answer honestly and you pass. Ready?" Nodded. "Why did you save Queen Vila? Speak the truth, all of it." Thought about the question. It seemed simple, but he knew it was not. The machine would detect any lie, any hidden motive. He needed to dig deep into his own heart. "At first," he said slowly, "I saved her because she needed help. I saw a dying woman. I could not walk away. That is who I am. That is how my parents raised me." The machine hummed but did not activate. He was telling the truth. "Then," he continued, "I saved her because she was beautiful. I am not proud of that, but it is true. Her beauty made me want to help her more." Still no activation, still truth. "And now," the elder asked, "why do you fight for her now?" Looked up at the royal box. He found Vila's golden eyes in the crowd. She was watching him, waiting, hopping. "Because I care about her," he said. "Not because she is a queen, not because of any debt or law. I care about her because she is kind beneath her crown, because she visits me every day just to talk, because she gave me her mother's pendant even though we barely know each other." His voice grew stronger. "I am not fighting for a queen. I am fighting for Vila, just Vila, the woman who smiles when she thinks no one is watching, the woman who is afraid for me even though I am nobody." The machine was silent. Then it released his restraints. The oldest elder stared at him. Something had changed in his old eyes. The coldness was gone. In its place was something that looked almost like respect. "The trials are complete," he announced. "The human has passed." The crowd exploded, cheering, crying, celebrating. History had been made. A human had done what most could not. Stood up on shaking legs. He looked at the royal box. Vila was already running down the stairs toward the arena floor. She reached him and threw her arms around him. She did not care that millions were watching. She did not care about royal dignity. "You impossible fool," she whispered. "You wonderful, impossible fool." Held her tight. For the first time since this journey began, he felt like he was exactly where he belonged. A month passed after the trials. His wounds healed, but the memory of those 3 tests stayed with him. Every night he dreamed of fire and falling. Every morning he woke up grateful to be alive. The people had changed how they looked at him. Where once they saw a strange alien, they now saw a hero. Children pointed at him in the streets. Elders bowed their heads. Artists painted his face on walls. The human who had conquered the trials of ascension did not feel like a hero. He felt like a man who had been very lucky. He and Vila spent most of their days together. She showed him the wonders of her world, gardens that floated in the sky, oceans that glowed at night, mountains made of crystal that sang when the wind blew through them. Sola Prime was more beautiful than anything he had ever imagined. But more beautiful than all of it was Vila herself. The queen he had first met was cold and distant. The woman he knew now was warm and full of life. She laughed at his jokes, even when they were not funny. She asked endless questions about Earth, about humans, about his small ship and his simple life. She looked at him like he was the most fascinating thing in the universe. Felt the same way about her. One evening, they walked together in the palace gardens. The 3 moons hung low in the purple sky. Flowers glowed with soft light around them. It was the most romantic place had ever been. "Can I ask you something?" Vila said. "Of course. When you answered the final question in the trials, you said you cared about me. You said you were fighting for me, not for a queen." She paused. "Did you mean it?" Stopped walking. He turned to face her. In the moonlight, her silver skin looked like it was made of starlight. Her golden eyes were gentle and vulnerable. "I meant every word," he said. "The machine would have killed me if I lied." "I know, but machines detect lies. They do not detect feelings." She looked away. "I need to know if your feelings are real, not duty, not gratitude, real feelings." Reached out and took her hand. Her fingers trembled slightly against his. "Vila," he said softly, "when I first saved you, I did not know who you were. I did not know you were a queen. I saw a woman who was hurt and scared, and I wanted to help her. That is all I saw. And now I see someone who makes me want to be better, someone who makes the stars seem closer, someone who laughs at my terrible jokes and worries about me when I am in danger." He smiled. "I see the woman I love." Vila's eyes widened. "You love me." "I do. I did not expect it. I did not plan it. But somewhere between your ship and this garden I fell in love with you, not with your crown or your empire, with you." Tears fell from Vila's golden eyes. They were not sad tears. They were tears of joy, shining like liquid gold in the moonlight. "I love you too," she whispered. "I have loved you since you carried me through my burning ship, since you sat by my bed for 3 days making sure I would live, since you stood before my council and refused to run away." She stepped closer to him. "You are the first person who has ever seen me, not the queen, me." Cupped her face in his hands. "Then let me keep seeing you, for as long as you will let me." She smiled through her tears. "Forever." "Forever sounds good." He kissed her. It was soft at first, gentle and careful, then deeper, more passionate. All the feelings they had hidden came flooding out. The garden seemed to glow brighter around them, as if the flowers themselves were celebrating. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathing hard. "So," Vila said with a small laugh, "does this mean you accept my proposal?" Pretended to think about it. Marriage to a beautiful alien queen, living in a crystal palace, never having to deliver cargo again. He grinned. "I suppose I can make that sacrifice." Vila hit his shoulder lightly. "You are impossible. You love impossible." "I do," she admitted. "I really do." The wedding was held 1 week later. It was the largest celebration the Empire had ever seen. Representatives came from all 7-star systems. Ships filled the sky above the capital. Billions watched the ceremony through screens across the galaxy. Wore traditional robes of silver and gold. He felt strange in them, like he was playing dress-up. But when he saw Vila walking toward him in her white gown, he forgot everything else. She was radiant. Her white hair was woven with flowers of light. Her golden eyes sparkled with happiness. She was the most beautiful thing he had ever seen, and she was about to become his wife. The ceremony was spoken in the old language. Did not understand most of the words, but he understood their meaning. 2 souls becoming one, 2 lives joining together, forever. When the time came, he placed a ring on her finger. It was simple, made from metal he had taken from his ship. "This is all I have to give you," he said. "I am not rich, I am not powerful, but I promise to love you every day for the rest of my life." Vila placed a ring on his finger. It was made of starlight glowing softly against his skin. "This is my heart," she said. "I give it to you freely, not because of debt, not because of law, because I choose you." The oldest elder pronounced them married. The crowd erupted in celebration. Fireworks of pure light filled the sky. Later that night, and Vila stood on a balcony overlooking the city. The celebration continued below, but they wanted a moment alone. Vila said, "Our marriage changes everything. You are no longer just a human. You are the consort of the queen. This makes your planet part of our story now." "I know," said, "I have been thinking about that." "What do you think it means?" He looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, Earth was spinning, full of humans who had no idea what had happened. Soon they would learn. Soon everything would change. "I think it means a new beginning," he said. "Humans and together, learning from each other, growing together, maybe we can build something beautiful." Vila rested her head on his shoulder. "You sound like a king." "I am just a cargo pilot who got very lost." "No," she said, "you are my husband, my love, my heart." She looked up at him. "And you are going to change the galaxy." Laughed, no pressure then. None at all. They stood together as the moons rose higher. Below them, 2 peoples were beginning to become one. Above them, the stars watched with ancient patience. Had started his journey as a lonely pilot looking for peace in the silence of space. He had ended it as the husband of a queen, the hero of an empire, and the bridge between 2 worlds. Some would say he was lucky, others would say he was brave, but knew the truth. He was just a man who had stopped to help someone in need. And sometimes, that was all it took to change everything. The stars continued their endless dance. New stories were beginning. New adventures were waiting. But for tonight, was content to hold his wife and watch the universe turn. Tomorrow could bring its challenges. Tonight he was home.